Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Michael, weekend edition, our weekend update. Take a look at Bitcoin. Was up here on 63,313, sold off to under 62,000, right around 62,000 even, and is bouncing, trying to get up to 62,700 right now. So we go over to our PowerPoint presentation. Our word of the day is YEGG, a burglar or a safe cracker, which is a noun. Old Jones was a former YEGG who had a reputation as a master safecracker. So we're going to take a look at a few different things today. Even when there is a bear market, the money doesn't totally evaporate or leave completely. We'll try to take a look at where it goes. Instead of taking 7 years to return to break even, you would have had no drawdown and participate in one of the strongest bull runs in history. So this is what we did right before September. We moved out. VIX was a little strong, and 3 weeks around the VIX equity indexes fell about 9.7%, and individual stocks fell 25% or more. So what this means for us as traders and investors is that it is no longer possible to study any one financial market in isolation, according to John J. Murphy. And here we look at, this is the stock market right here. And this is a currency market. There's 4 main markets, commodity market, and the metals. So that's where we are, and that's where kind of the money moves around in between these different, the bonds, currency, commodities, and stocks. So that's kind of where it shifts around. Where does cryptocurrencies move in? Well, you would kind of incorporate that with the stock market because it's more of a risk-on asset. So we move on. This is a Yale study, 1-year confidence index. The red line is consumers. I believe, the blue line is institutional investors, and it's interesting how they are just coming right down currently. And here's the sentiment index, recent sentiment index. The green is bullish, the gray is neutral, and the red is bearish. And bullish, people are getting more bullish right now. That's where the trend is currently. But kind of feel that eventually something is going to cause it to come down. I'm not sure what it is, but I think we're going to change. This is kind of a S&P 500 historical returns. 2000, 2002, 2008 had 3 to 4 positive months out of the year. These years had 5 to 6. These were the best years, 7 to 8 positive returns. And that is where 2024 sits. So the question is 2024 kind of like what 2007 was right before the 2008 financial crisis? This year was between 9 and 10 positive months, and 11 and 12 for 2006 and 2017. Here's the S&P 500 index. Here's the bull market, and here are the bear markets. The dot-com bubble, great financial crisis, COVID. What it just tells us, 85% of the time, the markets are going up. It's just that 15% of the time, it goes down quite a bit. It's like throwing a rock off of the top of the building instead of taking the stairs. So that is kind of what happens. Everybody rushes for the exits. This is AJ Monty, and and his predictions on Bitcoin says they're still tracking 100% target rate on Bitcoin. You can follow him on Twitter or X. I hope you're all making some money because we are. And he thinks 64,700 is his current upside target on this bullish harami. Now we move over to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. What do we got here? So we got a big move up here, over here, and then it sold off. It had a bullish candle here, but then it sold off. And that's kind of what we got here. We got a little lower volume than we had in the previous bullish day. It's coming up to resistance. It's pretty high above the moving averages. That's one thing you got to look out for. And that is where we sit on the Dow Jones. This is the small capitalization stock. Seems to always be in trading range. Can't seem to break out to new highs, but this is what we got before at a double top. And then it really sold off hard. And it almost looks like a double top again right over here. Or it could be forming a head and shoulders pattern. This is the left side, and this could be the right side. But the indicators keep moving up. It is lower volume on the move up here. So that is kind of where we are with small caps, IWM. The NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is really one of the weakest indexes right now, weaker than the S&P 500. So this is kind of resistance right over here. We got a gap here, so trying to fill the gap. Will it come up to the resistance and then sell off? It is a good ways away from 20-day moving average here. It's reaching kind of the heights of the momentum, and the CCI is rolling over here. This is a monthly look at the NASDAQ. This is kind of where the resistance is. And we got, looks like we got a hanging man up here. I think we got a couple of hanging men's 2 months in a row. So that's what to look out. And it looks like it's trending lower on the stochastics and is looking like it's getting ready to turn down on the CCI as well. Onto the S&P 500. What are the negative signs here? It's high above the moving average. It is positive candle here. We do have a doji right before this candle. So does this mean that there's a change afoot? Lower volume on this volume indicator. Looks like we got a bend on the stochastics. Now it's reaching almost the highest level on the CCI. Will this start to turn lower? That's the question. And moving on to the VIX. The VIX has got a doji. It is high above the moving average, so it could possibly come down here a little bit more as it is trending down here on the stochastics and the CCI. So it is possible that the S&P 500 could continue a little bit higher, but I think that this is eventually going to go hit our target of 2688. I have some targets on the other indexes as well. Let me just share that with you. They really haven't changed from last week. It's 411.32 on the Dow Jones, 211.88 on the small cap, 464.86 on the NASDAQ, and 555.58 on the S&P 500. Moving ahead, this is some kind of a scary look. These are from bars, lengths of before the market turned down here. There's like 101 bars before the sell-off over here. Same right over here. Turned down right over here and here. And we came up here, had a big sell-off. I believe this is 2020. And now AJ Monty predicting a 3 to 5 year bear market and coming down to the 2020 lows right in here. So that is something to keep your eyes out. We're skipping ahead here. Robert Kiyosaki as well predicts everything crash. Bitcoin may drop to 5,000 mid a market collapse. So this is something to definitely keep our eyes out. Now, last week, we talked about FEMA reaching out to Florida, and there was a fact check fail 2022 video when they actually said FEMA funds were being diverted to illegal immigrants. Now, we feel that the government is kind of pumping up things and maybe manipulating some of the numbers as people over the Fed seem to lean to the left. So that's something to keep in mind. Janet Yellen quietly admits serious US dollar collapse fears as Trump primes Bitcoin for a 4 trillion price surge. So painting the tape, manipulation of numbers to support the current administration. And Trump says he would not reappoint Fed Chair Jerome Powell. So there you have that. And this is kind of what we're looking at. Unemployment comes in dramatically higher than forecast. Seems like we're already in a recession, even as the media and government will not discuss the word. We had 258,000 unemployment, with the estimate at 231,000 and the previous number at 225,000 right here on October 3rd. So that is our PowerPoint presentation. We're going to just take a look over here in preparation. You know, you may want to think of putting at least part of your money in an account like this, especially if we're going to have a big sell-off. The market is at all-time highs. Annuity beats index average growth by about 5% per year. It goes up the stairs, and does not come down when the market comes down. Index investing will come down, and if the market sells off like in 2008, it will come down dramatically. So let us go over to our charts. This is kind of what we're looking at. There's a divergence in the NASDAQ. S&P, Dow Jones are at their highs, and the NASDAQ is underperforming the S&P by a big margin here. This is the relative strength line to the S&P 500. We'll see if it can get back in line or if we're going to have a rollover in the markets here. In the meantime, we're going to go take a look at some of the companies in Investors Business Daily top 50 stocks. NVIDIA looks like it's working on a base here. I think it was William O'Neill, founder of Investors Business Daily, always said to start to be a little bit concerned when a company is on the face of every magazine, newspaper, television, broadcast, whatnot. That's kind of what's going on with NVIDIA right now. So that may be something to take a look at. We do have a small position in NVIDIA, but that is the story. So this is Powell Industries, continues moving higher, pull back here. We'll see the 200-day moving average and is just powered higher. Manufactured substation packages and the like. Celestica, Canadian company. Nice, looks like we got a double bottom here, cleared that, and now it is kind of in the breakout zone. Look at all these blue bars, fantastic volume indicators. VRT, Vertiv, breaks out of the pivot zone here. Didn't get quite the volume, although it was higher volume than normal. Hims and hers being added to the indexes, so it gets a little bit more volume here, bouncing off the 20-day moving average. Palantir just keeps moving higher. Does a lot with AI and then helping protect individual privacy, and is working with a number of governments for national security. Doximity pulling back to the 20-day moving average here. ARM looks like it's ready to break out. Tried here once, tried here the second time, and usually the third time is the victory. MCore and had a breakout, pulled back to the 10-day moving average, and now it is bouncing off of that area, trying to clear that. Harrow engages in development and production, sale of innovative ophthalmic therapies. Baldwin Insurance moving higher. Just look at these earnings, 39% this year, 33% next year. Got Tour Lifestyle Holdings. So gapped up here, pulled back one day. We got an institutional ant buying up here, pulled back to the 10-day moving average and is bouncing. We'll see if it can hold this level here on any gap up. Remember, as long as you can buy right around the gap up and it holds that gap, you can continue to hold that. Clear Secure. This is the one that speeds you through the lines at the airports. It's clearing this area right over here. Now we've got some pretty good blue bars over here. Samsara. Tried to clear this area here. Had a little bit of a pullback. But it was much lower volume on a breakout here. ANET, Arista Networks, networking for a lot of data centers. And just keeps moving higher here. Natera. This is something we have in our portfolio. Look at these earnings. 48% increase this year is another 40%. Next year, it is still negative on earnings. You often find that in a biotech. Belgene ADR, pulling back right around the 10-day moving average. Look at these earnings, 37%. This year, 87%. Next year, it is a China-based developer of immuno-oncology drugs to treat cancer. Monday, Israeli software company, Looks like it's clearing this consolidation right here as it moves higher, up 2.46. Duolingo, look at this move. And it is consolidating a little bit here at these higher levels. Royal Caribbean as a cruise lines just kind of take off. They're in much better health than they were in 2020, kind of recovered. Axon Enterprises up about 1.5%. Let's see if it can clear this level up here. I believe Warren Buffett has some of these in his portfolio. Interactive Brokers, once again, trying to clear 150 here. Looks like it's done so. Look at all these blue bars down here. It is a good ways, one thing to look at, it is a good ways above the 50-day moving average at this point. Affirm Holdings. Firm looks like it's getting ready to break out. We've got some institutional ants over here. Up 12%. On shoe manufacturer. Just kind of riding the 20-day moving average at the moment. Annie Lam Pharmaceuticals looks like it's getting close to the pivot zone here on this like kind of flat base. So just kind of continue this. I definitely watch this next week. In the aviation, FTA Aviation just continues moving higher. This is an ascending base. Look at that, just keeps walking higher and higher. Vital Farms, working on a base. 82% earnings increase this year. Ryan Specialty in insurance, insurance brokers, agents, and carriers. It is in the pivot zone. It has broken out of this area. It just needs a little bit more volume. Clearwater Analytics. Look at this earnings, 32% this year, 20% next year. And it just is kind of riding along the 10 and 20-day moving average. Clavio, software as a service firm. Have not heard of this company before. Things to look out for. It is a wide area above the 50-day moving average. That's one concern. It is, look at these numbers, which are pretty good. Earnings 24% and 18% next year. Another aerospace, Calmet, is in the profit zone, up 1.68% after a breakout over here. Pull back to the 10-day moving average, and it's just been riding the 10 and 20-day ever since then. Train Technologies moves up to about 400. Let's adjust this. Fix. Looks like it's breaking out of that consolidation. I guess this is heating ventilation kind of AI company. Earnings up 58% this year, another 14% next year. Netflix, I believe they have their earnings next week. Just can't kind of clear this pivot zone here. I guess everybody's just kind of waiting for earnings. Mercado Libre just keeps powering higher. I guess this is kind of the Amazon of South America fell to its 50-day, and it is bouncing, kind of clearing this kind of pullback area. It's up 2.5%. Earnings up, look at this, 93% this year, another 34% next year. Fortinet in security and networking functions keeps moving higher, came into the pivot zone, kind of rode in here for a while, following the 10 and 20-day moving average, and is now popping out of that area. Meta, probably one of the stronger big 7 stocks. NVIDIA and Meta are probably the only 2 that are on the IBD 50. ServiceNow doesn't look like it's doing anything wrong. 28% increase this year and another 20% next year. Got a couple of biotechs here. Travere Therapeutics is pulling back a little bit after this big move. Hasn't cleared, the selling had cleared this big blue bar day. 7% this year and another 60% next year. Lantheus, I guess this is a medical imaging. Yes, I believe this had a big run in 2020. See if it can clear this base area. It was up 3.72%. Got the trade desk, just continues to move higher, help companies with their marketing. Tradeweb Markets, kind of at the highs. Shift4 payments, does the payments for most of the hotels, and it is just moving higher. Got up to 96. I had this for a while as an option and took my eyes off of it and missed this one totally. Zeta Global Holdings pulls back to its 20-day moving average and really popped on Friday, up 1.8% on pretty huge volume. American Superconductor, this is another one that we hold. Got the options over here. Got a big bounce on Friday, up 8.25%. Believe this is going to help all the electronic producers, data centers, high temperature superconductor wires. Deckers Outdoors make the Hoka shoes. We'll pull back here, see if it can clear and get into the pivot zone. Its earnings are in 11 days. Earnings up 9% this year, 13% next year. Argan kind of cleared this area right in here. And just keeps marching on higher. Just got 3 more to go. Dycom Industries pulls back here, provides engineering construction, up 8% this year, 19% next year. Kind of got low volume here, earnings in 38 days. Abercrombie and Fitch is trying to clear this area, gets above the 50-day moving average again, up 4.5%. Earnings, look at this, up 66%, 65% this year. And finally, KKR. So this is an asset capital management company. And that is our show for this weekend. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Please check in with us on Monday as we go over all the markets and what is happening. We look forward to working with you in the future. And if there's anything we can help you with your financial goals or activities, feel free to reach out with a comment, and we will talk to you later.